From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a special live broadcast of Evenings LA. With so much breaking news, I'm going live on air. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we go over that monthly stimulus check and why the breaking news out of Los Angeles signals you could potentially have more months of checks. Then in the recon, we turn to the $3.5 trillion of other sums of checks that you'll be getting. And spoiler alert, a lot of money for my seniors. And then we go over the voting process, the two bills, the two items, everything you need to know about the votes next week, and I'll explain what's going on, where it's going to come to bill format, and when the vote will be called. Then we turn to fifth stimulus, which heats up this fall with the raising of your benefits, especially if you're on SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits. And then we turn to the thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars that viewers continue to get. It's a big evening. It's a big night with a lot of exciting news in a special live broadcast with breaking details straight and direct from Santa Monica, across the board and across the sea. From my home to your home, let's get to the details, starting right here on Evenings LALATE. How are you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful evening, and I'm so excited for you to join me on a special live broadcast of Evenings LA, one of few ever on this channel. There's so much breaking news, so I had to go live on air. But first, how's the weather where you are? The weather has finally cooled down here in Santa Monica. The breeze is coming in from the coast. The surf is strong tonight, and I'm so excited for you to join me. Jump in the live chat right now and tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather? In this fourth stimulus check update 2021 tonight, we'll be going over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats will likely give you more months of checks if they get it done. And then we turn to the recon that has $3.5 trillion of other checks in there for you. Spoiler alert, lots of money for my seniors. And then we cut to the vote. There's a vote next week, but it's not what some people have been commenting in the comments. I'll explain what that vote is for and what's going on with the two-bill process. We'll explain the details of the vote, the bill, and what went on today as well. And then we cut to the exciting great news about fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime with a new benchmark of inflation. And I'll go over what Jay Powell said this week as well. And then we turn to the fortunes that viewers continue to get. Tens of thousands of dollars across the board. Viewers like Nisi who got $23,000. I'm excited for you. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next stop, 1 million. I want you part of this channel, so hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes. It helps in the algorithm rankings. And consider becoming a member. Let's get into that breaking news starting right now. Monthly stimulus checks. Suddenly, everything changed so quickly. Why? It started 2 weeks ago when LA County said, maybe we'll be changing your mask mandate. And then 48 hours ago, they announced it. It became effective today. And I actually walked into the store a few minutes ago. I forgot about it by accident, no fault of my own. The mask mandate is back on. People have to wear masks even when vaccinated when inside of stores. Here you go. On Friday, a GOP member on Capitol Hill questioned Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, and said, isn't the pandemic still going on? There you go. Pandemic plus 1 year. Stimulus checks. Senate House proposal. House bill. Pandemic plus 1 year. Senate proposal, July to December. Let's go over the payouts. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. Senate amount monthly unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. And $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Suddenly, this number is so dramatically different. With the pandemic not over and Delta certainly on the rise in 50 states across the country, the pandemic's not over. And a House bill 13 pandemic plus 1 year certainly looks like it would pay out pandemic plus 1 year. Certainly more than just 12 months of checks, which would be more than $13,000. Compare that to this. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House of Senate. House of Senate, tell me where you're tuning in from on this special live broadcast of Saturday evenings LA, live from Santa Monica, and how the weather is with you as well. Who gets his fourth stimulus check? You do. Democrats represent that if you got a third stimulus check, you would get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, single individuals, everyone would get a fourth stimulus check. Let's go over the details. Single individual, $75,000 or less, Democrats represent, you would get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, double it, Democrats represent, you would get a fourth stimulus check. A family of four, Democrats represent, you would get a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, Democrats represent, you would get a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not taxable. It's not income. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check would not come in a wave. So if you are at happy hour where you're watching me on your cell phone right now, and someone's waving next to you and it looks like it's Mr. Check, don't wave back. He's just partaking too much in the lobster McConnell margaritas. Hey, Jack, no, don't talk to him. Yeah, it's the Mitch special. Yeah, he won't wave back. He may see two of you, but you wish you saw two of him. In fact, you wish you saw 12 of him. Well, actually, 12 plus pandemic. The House, the Democrats represent you and get a fourth stimulus check in the month of July, for the month of July, and in the month of August, for the month of August, and they can still get it done. I'll go over what went on today, what goes on this week, what's going on next week, and why the exciting details of the bill, the vote, and everything you need to know is being hammered out. I'll go over what happened to that July 4th vote, and then in the second part of this video, we'll go over the recon with $3.5 trillion of checks for you. Oh, yes, sirree. This is more money than even third stimulus had for you. But first, let's get a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up lifetime and applies a new benchmark, and Jay Powell spoke about that benchmark inflation. Oh, it's exciting news. It's coming up in the second half of this video. But here we go. Let's get some moolah. It's Sunday night. It's Saturday night. It's some night. It's Sunday night in another country. But here it's Saturday night. Get that pen and paper ready. And I'm going to go over the big money I can get you right now. If you're new to this channel, that's what we do. Jump in the live chat right now, and post the success stories you got. Post the rent you got. Post the utilities. Post the internet. I have been so excited and proud of you. Viewers of this channel were initially told by me that the videos could get them about $5,000 of rent. Viewers are getting $20,000 of rent, like Nisi, who got $23,000 across the board, but viewers daily are getting $12,000 for rent. For utilities, I said, hey, I can get you about a couple $100s from these videos. Viewers are getting $3,000 for utilities. And when I talk about Snap, I said viewers were getting $5,000 to $6,000 of rent. Snap, now viewers like John are getting $12,000 for Snap. So post the rent, the utilities, the Snap if you got multiple items, post them as well. Like Art Sullivan, 3 items. So what's going on? This is what I do. I give people money on this channel. In spring of last year, EIDL grant and EIDL loan was not being paid. So I stepped in not to track the check because there was no check. I stepped in to get the check, $25 million of them for viewers of this channel. Then in fall of 2020, second stimulus was not going out. There was no check to track for it because second stimulus didn't have a check yet. So I got viewers $250,000 of rent, like Tyrone, the family of 4 in Boston. And now we're doing the same. Viewers are killing it daily. So get that pen and paper ready. We're going to go over the big money I can get in for you starting tonight. We're going to go over rent, utilities, internet, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utility. Are you ready? You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state housing authority, and your state hall. And the key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance or mortgage assistance or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's fabulous backup singing career. Ouch, my ear just hurt just thinking about that. Yeah, they don't know about that. They don't want to hear about it. They certainly don't want to even ever hear about it, ever. So don't say words they don't know. And congratulations to Tim and Linda who've gotten this wonderful pot of money. $5,000 is the average starting number, but viewers are getting upwards of $12,000 to $20,000 for rent. Post your rent success story in the chat right now. Let's now turn to Snap. What is SNAP? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. How much does it pay? A fortune. John got $12,000 from the videos of this channel. But in Hawaii, a family of four gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow, so why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up between now and December. So go get it. Wow, we are killing it. You're killing it. Only 10 minutes of the video, we've gone over $5,000 for rent, 4 to 6 months to start, or $16,000 for Snap. And we got more sums of money right now. But the importance of posting in the live chat is threefold. One, it inspires people to get money if they haven't got it. Number two, it inspires people to get other sums of money. If they got one, then they'll get three when they see what Art Sullivan and others did. And then it updates me about the sums of money. But let's get another pot of money right now. It's the money coming back from your states. The states have been ordered to return back to the money to you that they overpaid due to unemployment benefits. Wow. One viewer got $3,000, another viewer got $5,000 recently for it. What is this for? It's that refund check. How do you track it? Well, first, it would likely land by direct deposit. But if you want to track it, call up your state and say, hey, state, where is that state? Where is that check due to a computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the refund check from IRS. We have some breaking news about that. Another wave has gone out. Now, Margaret Codd, Michael have gotten it, but others are starting to get it as well. Direct deposit started another round on July 4th and another mail check on July 16th. Rounds will continue week after week, but the latest round is $1,265. Wow, incredible news. So how much, where, and when? Let's go over the details. First, let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit or in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, and do a transcript search. It'll reveal stuff you never knew. It'll reveal stuff you don't want to know. It'll reveal stuff you don't want people to see. It'll reveal the tax return you file, the taxes you pay. It'll reveal, really, when is Mitch having backup singer auditions, and will they and will there be ballads about Nancy in there? Then it'll reveal the tax return check you're getting back from IRS. Wow, can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part of your four stimulus check updated 2021 tonight, starting right now. So here we are. We now have a passable reconciliation. And that passable reconciliation has been passed for purposes of the price tag. The recon over 3 weeks ago was this monstrosity that had roads and bridges and the Americans' money in there as well. But because it was so big, Democrats, when polled about it, said they would not vote in favor of it. So 3 weeks ago, they took roads and bridges out, and it shrunk the recon. It created two items: recon with your money, lots of it in there, and then roads and bridges in the bipartisan. Now, it's important to know what the words are because broadcast media and even the president are using multiple words for the same thing, causing it to become a little confusing. Recon is also called reconciliation. It's also called the budget bill. The people you'll see quoted in articles about it are Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, Jolly and Nancy. The price tag, $3.5 trillion. Bipartisan, also called roads and bridges or infrastructure. People you'll be quoted in the article about are Mitt Romney, Kristen Sinema, Lisa Murkowski. Price tag $1.5 trillion. So there you see two very, very different bills, different price tags. And what's important to know is how we got there. Well, we got there by taking roads and bridges out of the recon, and now we have something passable. But the breaking news this weekend is we have a passable amount on the price tag. They got that done. More about that in a second. A conservative print media recently had a beautiful op-ed that explained the situation, confirmed my reporting. The higher the price tag was for the recon initially, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, like roads and bridges, and put in the bipartisan, it made the recon smaller by price tag, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry, Mitch, sorry to set you up. Now, this article sort of changed in relevancy in just the last week, because the second part of the article went on to talk about, well, the GOP should not blast the infrastructure because it gives the Democrats the recon. Well, you're going to see later in this video that the Republicans love the infrastructure now. Mitch loves it. The Republicans love it. And they say they're going to get it done. So are they? That's coming up in the second half of this video. Now, I had told you when they shrunk that recon that progressives were adding some items back in there, but not a lot. Well, the confirmation is they got it done. Senate Democrats met this week in a private meeting of what's called a caucus meeting, and they passed the price tag of your recon. Now, the price tag of a recon is the first and most important step. And that first step has to be done by a caucus meeting. It's not done by a vote because it's not a bill item. It's a price tag agreement. I'll have more about that in a second, but this was huge news. And the price tag is $3.5 trillion. Wow. We got that tip-off that they were going to do that from Representative Ilhan Omar that said we have a commitment that regardless of what happens with the bipartisan, that the recon goes big enough. Well, it went big enough, $3.5 trillion. And then Representative Richie Torres, Democrat progressive, who said that the bipartisan agreement is fine, but it has to be linked to a big enough recon, and he wants housing in there. Wow, he got it, $3.5 trillion. And then finally, the progressives have been asking the White House daily what they want in there, or saying what they want in there, and that was the Progressive Caucus daily. Well, how did we get to this spot? We got to this spot because the Democrats were protecting the recon and its progressive priorities in there. In fact, we had confirmation. Brian Schatz, Democrat of Hawaii, said the White House had considered the priorities in the recon, progressive priorities, is its own, and Jalapal was protecting it. So how did we get to this wonderful spot? Here's what you need to know tonight. That this wonderful recon is being written by Democrats, for Democrats, to be passed by Democrats. What's a recon? A recon, or a reconciliation, is a budget bill, and it's written in House subcommittees. Those House subcommittees are the lead authors, with the Senate subcommittees watching with them and helping them. Same political party. Under the Constitution, different House subcommittees are delegated different subjects for bill writing. In the case of House Ways and Means, they got stimulus. They also got unemployment stimulus checks and unemployment stimulus. And when they're done, they don't have to show you. Under the Constitution, there's no requirement to show you what they wrote, what they took out, what they put in, what they voted on, what they didn't vote on. They don't have to show you. They may show you, but they have no obligation of transparency under the Constitution. So what's important to understand is that there's enough broadcast media articles say, we have not heard from those subcommittee members what's in the recon. Well, they don't want to show it to you, nor does the Democratic leadership. It's sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album. They don't want to show you all the tracks yet. They want to release it as a one big part. When those subcommittee members are done, and the subcommittees are done with their subjects, and let's say they do 10 pages for the bill, and let's say there's 10 subcommittees, then they combine that and send it up to Nancy or Chuck, and Nancy otherwise puts an H on it, or Chuck puts an S on it, and then you have a bill. So there's no time or place to say, I haven't heard about. Guess what? No one's heard about. There has been no revelation of the recon. But here is exciting news. We have some details coming in this video of what's in there. Wow. How do we get to this wonderful spot? From Jalapal, who wrote the president, who wrote Chuck to call a vote. That letter was co-signed by 12 Democrats who are among 100 plus who said we're going to put monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. Can we top that? We can. As 7 members of that House Ways and Means Committee, which I just spoke about, wrote the president a letter recently saying we're putting monthly stimulus checks into the fourth stimulus recon. My goodness, there you go. We got to hold them to that promise. Now, they wrote your third stimulus recon, and they're writing your fifth for next year. That's coming up later in this video. Can we top that? We can. As the president anchored fourth stimulus to the edge of the finish line this week, because finally the international corporate tax rate minimum is law. 3 weeks ago, actually it's now 4 weeks ago today, the president went overseas internationally and did a ceremonial signing of this. But that's not the actual signing. The signing happened just days ago this week. It now makes international law the global minimum corporate tax rate. This is huge for stimulus. Why? One, you don't have to write for it makes it easier to write for stimulus recon because you don't have to put these provisions in there. They're confusing. It makes it easier to call the vote because the provisions about international corporate taxes are not in there. Easier to call the vote. It's easier to vote on it because you don't have to have it in there, and it doesn't confuse anyone. And it's easier to pass for stimulus recon because they're not in there. Wow, can we top that? We can. In the final 15 minutes of this video, we're going to be going over big details of what is in the recon. We'll be going over what is in the bipartisan. We'll go over what the votes are set for next week. We'll go over how much of the bills have been written, and we'll go over what you should expect and not expect as well. Finally, a personal message from me about my opinion about the situation. But first, also coming up in the second half of this video is fifth stimulus. I'll be going over the raising up of your benefits if you're on SSI to VA. Very exciting news, and that's coming up. But something even more wonderful, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, internet, or SNAP, or homeowners or mortgage assistance, reach out to the volunteers. They can get that money for you. How do you find them? You open the description of this video. Go down the description. You'll see an emoji of a house. Not Nancy's. Click on the link. It'll send you over to the community page. That's news.la.com/community. The volunteers will help you get that big money. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with a big finale, the final 15, that shows all the breaking news this beautiful live evenings broadcast has for you. It's coming up in just a second. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on this special live broadcast direct from Santa Monica this beautiful evening with you joining me. How you doing? I'm so excited for you to join me on a special live broadcast tonight. Coming up in the second half of this video is the shocking breaking news of your fourth stimulus. What's happening today? Yes, those senators and those Democrats and those Republicans work this weekend. I'll go over what they're doing and what they did today. I'll go over what's voted on next week and what you should anticipate across the board. We also cut to fifth stimulus as well. So subscribe. At 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Also like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Coming up after this video is a very sort of confusing programming schedule tonight. All the rest of the shows will be in the usual time slot, but Overnight's Crypto will air a little bit later. So you'll see Overnight's Crypto get into the mix maybe in about a half an hour later than it usually is. All right, here we go. Fifth stimulus is very exciting because this is what my veterans, my SSI viewers were promised by this president on the campaign trail. And guess who's holding that promise for you? Congressional Democrats. They're putting it into fifth stimulus, and I'm going over all the details for you right now. It'll raise your benefit limits up, then remove the asset limits, add inflationary benchmark, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. How does this work? What is it? Under fifth stimulus this fall, they'll add this reform. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, or CalCena benefits, or multiple benefits. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark is inflation. And you know a benchmark is applied at the end of the year for the next year's benefits. Well, here you go. Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill this week, and he said The same thing he said last month. That inflation is going up to its highest point around the end of the year. Yes, this is huge because that's when they apply your benchmark. We also had this week Wall Street analysts say the same inflation rate number I have been reporting on as well, 5% around December. OMG. This is a temporary or transitory, if you want to use the technical term, of interest rate, that it would go up and then go back down. This is huge. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply the inflation rate. And if it is 5%, your benefits will step up 5%. Not just next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate the year after that is 2%, you'll be at +2, +5%. It's wonderful news. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. Now you have room to have a muddled, no, we don't do muddled. You have room to have a blue Crayola crown in your hand and a stimulus check. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And now you'll be able to work and also stay on benefits. And finally, they're going to get rid of the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. I don't know if I'll be able to marry anyone. I'm not ordained as a minister, at least not on reality TV yet. And you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Love will be able to win, and you'll no longer suffer marriage penalty loss of benefits. Not retroactive, however. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. Now, yes, there is a fifth stimulus check. Those House Ways and Means subcommittee members represent. That would be next year. It would not overlap with fourth. And the president has dedicated $1 billion to Social Security Administration to ensure you get all your checks on time. Finally, I noticed in the live chat during the commercial break, someone asked something that I always mention at the same point. If you're missing a first stimulus check, if you're missing a second or a third, you must do two things. IRS requires this. There's no way around it. 1, you must file a tax return and request it. Number 2, you must go to a line item on that tax return and mention that you're requesting that check. If you haven't done both, go to a tax preparer. And there you go. Now, if you're watching this video and you wonder, wait a second, there's a lot of people in the live chat that have Purple Hawks. How do I get that? You have to join. And consider joining, because if you see those Hawks in the chat posting the rent, the utilities, the internet that they're posting, and you haven't gotten it, then consider becoming a member. Becoming a member, I deliver daily a breakdown of all the big money for you under the stimulus package. You're going to see in a second, I'm going to talk about the $3.5 trillion price tag of the recon. That's $3.5 trillion of checks for you, folks. All for you. In second stimulus, when a $600 stimulus check was passed, I told viewers, I think I can get you $6,000, not $600 from second stimulus. I got viewers like Tyrone, $15,000, not $6,000. When third stimulus passed, and it was a $14 stimulus check, I said, I'll get you $14,000. I'm getting viewers like Nisi, $23,000 from third stimulus. And trust me, we're going to do the same thing on fourth stimulus. You'll get tens of thousands of dollars from this channel on fourth stimulus as well. Which brings us to, so consider becoming a member. The link's under the video at the join button, which brings us into the final 15 of a big finale of fourth stimulus tonight. All right, number 1. Why did they not get a vote done by July 4th? Because at that time, when Nancy and Chuck had said July 4th, the recon included roads and bridges. And as if you heard earlier in the video, they couldn't pass it because the Democrats said it's too big, take roads and bridges out. And they did. It became passable. But the Democrats came back to Nancy, Chuck, and the president and said, now that you got the recon passable, there's an issue. You must have the bipartisan ready for a vote close in time. Recon gets voted on first, bipartisan goes shortly after time, but they couldn't say, hey, I will get to the bipartisan in November and do the recon in July. Several Democrats said they wouldn't do that. Okay, so what's going on with the recon? We're going to first go over the recon, then we'll do bipartisan, and then we'll go back to the recon. What's going on with the recon? The great news, huge news, is they have an agreement that passed the top line number. When you do a recon, the first thing you have to do is agree upon the number. You don't call for a vote because there's no bill. What you do is you have a caucus meeting of your Democratic senators. They did that. Bernie Sanders went in there and said, I want $7 trillion, we learned today. And Bernie Sanders expressed why he needs $7 trillion. They said, no, Bernie, that's a little too much. But what do you want? Progressives may push. Conservative Democrats may push, or moderate Democrats may push. And what did they all agree upon? $3.5 trillion. Now, this is huge. Bernie Sanders said it was a historic day in the U.S. government, historic day for the American people. He said the price tag achieves the same goals of $7 trillion, has the same exact programs, just less years of it. He was ecstatic. The progressives were ecstatic. The moderate Democrats were ecstatic. They adored it. They adored it because it's a huge number. Number two, people are ecstatic because they got it done. By getting it done, it now makes it easy to pass the forced stimulus recon. As Senator Tim Kaine, Hillary's VP running mate in the earlier election presidential run, said this week that by agreeing on the price tag, it's now easy to slot into the numbers of what goes into the recon. Now, here's what you need to know, is that earlier in this video I explained to you that you're not going to see the recon bill just like a pop singer's album until it's ready to be debuted with a lot of fanfare and pageantry. But you'll see some of the details leaked. Leaked? How did anyone leak the details? I don't know. I just sort of got some. It's me. I mean, I don't know. It was behind Watergate. I got them. I don't know. No, it was a conservative publication that thought they would do an article about how horrible your recon is and why the money in there is a waste of time for the American people. Thank you. It's not an exhaustive list. It's just a few items they wanted to really trash talk, but the items are wonderful. Here are some of the items of the $3.5 trillion of checks for the American people of what they include. This is not the whole list. Checks for free school meals for all. Checks for tax breaks, checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for immigration reform, checks for farmers, checks for elections, checks for free internet. They're going to give fortunes to cities so that cities can run their free internet companies, for you so you can have free internet. Wonderful. Then there will be lots of checks for workers and seniors. Workers will have checks like unionized workers and also independent contractors, my PUA people. Then they'll expand benefits for my seniors. They'll expand Medicare, expand Medicare. They will change eligibility and then include checks for dental, vision, and hearing aid care. Wow, now that's wonderful, great news. Which brings me then to the bipartisan next. The bipartisan had great news today. Today, Republicans and Democrats worked. Yeah, pinch yourself. Yeah, they worked on the weekend. They worked today to get the bipartisan done. On Thursday, they said that by Thursday, they were going to agree on the principles of what goes in the bipartisan, which is huge because the principles is all that is needed for the drafting of the bill, as Mitt Romney said. When you agree upon the principles, then it's easy to just put them into bill format. What did those bipartisan members also say? They said that they think the final vote will be on the bill this coming week. Wow. Do I agree? No. I think it'll be the week after. Mainstream media, middle-of-the-road media agrees. They think this coming week is a little too hopeful, a little too optimistic. That's likely the week after. But you know why this is great news for us? Yes. Recon goes for a vote before bipartisan. So your recon could go for a vote this coming week. Wow. If not, the week after. Now, what votes are set for next week? It's so important to watch my videos, and it's so important to stay here because trust me, people are hearing vote, check, pocket. And they're not hearing from me. They're just sort of hearing three words. I heard check, I heard vote, I heard pocket. No. Let's slow it down. That's not what happened. That's not what happening on Tuesday. On Tuesday, Chuck Schumer is having a vote. First of all, let me actually make something even clearer. There's no vote on Wednesday. Chuck Schumer's having a meeting on Wednesday about your recon. There's no vote on the recon on Wednesday. On Tuesday, he's having a vote, not on the recon, but the bipartisan. Now, let me slow this down because this is a little confusing. What is the vote on the roads and bridges bipartisan infrastructure about on Tuesday? It's not a vote to pass it. It's a vote to say zip it or do it. That's basically what it is. It's sort of like a professor that says we're going to have a pop quiz in an hour from now, and I'll give you an hour to prepare. And the students say, no, we think we need 2 hours to prepare. And the professor's like, oh, let's vote on it. Should you have an hour to prepare, 2 hours to prepare? And that's what Chuck is saying on Tuesday. He's saying we need to decide how much more time you're going to talk about this infrastructure, roads and bridges. And I want to limit the amount of time about talking about it. Do I think it's going to pass? No. People don't like to be told rush, even though we would we would do exactly what Chuck is doing, of course, wouldn't we? We would force people to get it done and say, hey, stop talking, get it done. That's what Chuck is doing. Ironically, the good news about it, but we won't see until closer to Tuesday, is that it's forcing these people to work. They're working around the clock this weekend to get it done. Because while they do not have a final bill yet for the infrastructure, bipartisan roads and bridges, it's forcing them to get it done. It's also great news for us because it understands the priority to have that recon ready for vote first. Now, here is my opinion of the situation. There is only one thing that I am attentive to. I don't want to say worried or troubled. I want to say I'm attentive to. It's the paying for items in the bipartisan roads and bridges infrastructure. There's an article today that says that, and I don't know if it's true or false, but the article says that the members of the bipartisan negotiating teams have not even agreed to how to pay for the bipartisan. This was supposed to be topic number 1 2 months ago. I don't know if the article's true or not true, but the other part of the article that troubles me a little bit is that it goes through a series of 10 or 20 items that allegedly are part of the discussion about where to get money from to pay for the roads and bridges infrastructure. And the author of the article claims that those items don't generate enough money to pay for the item, to pay for the bill. Now, next week, the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, will issue a score. What's a score? It'll go over how much it costs for the national debt, this infrastructure, roads and bridges. Mitt Romney, who of course was former head of Bain Capital, which is a big financial investment consulting firm that knows his numbers, that's what his business was, fired back and said he's not worried about the CBO number next week because he thinks that Republicans like this, which they do, and then they want to get it done, which they do, and he's not worried that that's an issue. But there were some Republicans quoted today that said, I want to see what that CBO number is and how much debt are we creating with this infrastructure bill? Can we pay for it all? So I'm definitely going to pay attention to that. I don't want to tell you to push Purple Power, to push them to get bipartisan done, but that certainly is a focus of what's going on with this pay for us. Now, here's what you need to know, is that in December 2020, we didn't see second stimulus coming out. And I said, enough is enough. We've been talking about second stimulus for months. Finally, I said, there's a continuing resolution that has to be done. And I said, I have an idea. Let's put a stimulus check in the continuing resolution. People thought I was crazy. They thought I was drunk. Who puts a stimulus check in a budget bill for the federal government? And we pushed. You pushed. You got CR for stimulus. You got stimulus in the CR trending nationally. And they did it. They saw the videos, and they came back and they put the wrong type of stimulus in there, unemployment stimulus. So we pushed again. We said, no, seats for stimulus. We're kicking you out unless there's a stimulus check in there. And we got it done. If you work with me then, then you don't know that this whole time frame was about a 14-day turnaround. Very, very tight time frame. Why am I bringing that up? Because you're now in that very tight time frame of 14 days. Cutting back to the recon now. When you look at the $3.5 trillion price tag of fortunes of checks for the American people, there is one thing you need to remember. These are Democrats who have their own priorities for their own reasons. One Democrat may really have a lot of focus on Medicare. Another Democrat may have a big thing about the internet, or another one may have a big thing about housing. Well, our big thing is us. And so as they're fighting to take every piece they can of the $3.5 trillion and have it dedicated to us, we need to fight as well to have our part of the money given to us as well. So you need to push Purple Power, because while they promise things, they can change. If you're with me in December 2020, when they finally put that stimulus check in there, There were mornings where we woke up where the check went up in price, and by the afternoon, the check went down in price. By the evening, the check removed eligibility. By the nighttime, it increased eligibility. It came out and went in. It came out, it went in. It kept on going in and out. It depended on what day of the hour of the week you're looking. And we got to push because ultimately, they can take things out, they can put them back in, and they can push them around across the board. How about the vote? 12 votes. 12 steps, doesn't take 12 days. We have 3 bills here. We have a recon procedural, recon substantive, and a bipartisan. Each requires 4 votes. That's 12. Senate subcommittee, Senate floor, House, President. It's important to understand that until that we are to a finality, things can change. So if you see something in the first draft, don't be acceptant of it and just put your feet up. We had a wonderful viewer, WR, 2 weeks ago on Noontime, who jumped in the live chat and said, I called up Senator Coons' office. He had been watching my videos. He called up Senator Coons' office to say, I need a stimulus check. I need the monthly. And I'm going to tell you why. He prepared his comments, like I tell viewers to do. Speak about why you need it. You need it because you were laid off. There's no new jobs. Our town is very small. It's a rural town. There's no new job creations. Or I'm a senior and my benefits are worth less because inflation is going up. I need more money. And I don't get enough for SNAP. And this is just not enough. You need to tell them. They need to hear from you. They're in D.C. They're in a beautiful building with beautiful offices, with beautiful furniture. And they may not hear your reasons why you need the money. So call them up. As he did, he called up Senator Chris Coons, Democrat out of Delaware, and at the end of the conversation, the secretary said, yes, Senator Coons is putting monthly stimulus checks in there. Now, not reason for you to put up a donut in your hand and sit back and say, can I have another donut? No, it's time for you to push as well. What's going on next week will be very eventful. You know, as I've covered enough fake narratives on this channel, that Tuesday, when that vote call for the bipartisan as to whether to zip it or do it, not a vote on the bill, but a speak up or get it done vote happens, you absolutely know that Tuesday after the vote falls apart, there'll be people that'll be in the live chat saying, the vote happened and they didn't give us a stimulus check. It wasn't even a vote on the recon. It wasn't even a vote on a bill. It wasn't even the vote on the recon or a bill. You're going to have a lot of people confused when they hear that vote result because it has nothing to do with us. And then Chuck's having a meeting on Wednesday. He's not having a vote on Wednesday. Some people are taking one word from one sentence and putting another word in another sentence. Finally, if you saw me throughout the week, I said in one day of this week, which was very shocking, where I turned on my favorite broadcast financial news channel, and the opening remark was, well, you know, they're doing that infrastructure and they're paying for it by corporate taxes. My goodness, if the broadcast media can't get it right, how are viewers supposed to get it right? And then went on to say the president's asking for 35% corporate taxes. No, it's not. So there you go. Across the board, we'll keep it together and we'll keep it informed. The next 14 days, the news cycle will speed up, where you'll see things change by the hour. Tonight, the schedule is a little bit different for Overnight's Crypto. It would usually happen right after this video. It'll happen shortly after, but not right after. Coming up at 8 o'clock is Sirloin. Our overnight shows do run throughout the night, but I'll be quickly rushing to get Overnight's Crypto live. It'll probably go within about 10 minutes after this video is over. And with that, I'm so excited you join me on this beautiful evening across the board. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube recognize once you're part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes. Every like helps. It also delivers a side of parsley. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the channel, the pinned comment, so you get details about what is in that third stimulus, so you get that big money. That email, that delivery of that message is coming out in about the next half hour as well from me as well, from the YouTube community page. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you next on Overnight's Crypto.